Another video that we tend to do every year on the channel is one where we take a look at the most miserable fan bases in the NHL. In case you're new to the concept, we're going to do a decade look back. We'll look at things such as postseason appearances, rounds won, and points percentage. And with that, here are the top 7 most miserable NHL fan bases of 2023. Some of you may be skeptical as to why the Ducks are here based on their previous playoff appearances and rounds won more recently. However, for me at least, looking at Anaheim, it seemed like their fans were given a major tease last season. Now obviously Ryan Getzlaf was on his way out the door, but the mood in Anaheim seemed to be much more optimistic. For starters, early into the season, the Ducks embarked on an 8-game win streak, and Troy Terry had a nice 16-game point streak as well. We got to see Trevor Zegras score lacrosse goals and entertained during the All-Star game. Also, Jamie Drysdale and Terry were making strides in the right direction. Over the offseason, the team managed to sign John Klingberg and Ryan Strome, among others. Therefore, when Anaheim came out of the gate this campaign, it was shocking how quickly the morale seemed to dip. It's obvious we weren't expecting the Ducks to go on a Stanley Cup run by any means, but not many expected them to be struggling this much. Currently, as I'm making this video, Anaheim is 10-24-4 so far this season. They also sit just above Chicago, at the bottom league-wide. Now, if the Ducks luck out and get Connor Bedard, we won't have this conversation next year. But for now, the mood is morose in Orange County. This past season, things really began to appear more optimistic for Ottawa. For one, they were able to acquire Alex DeBrincat from Chicago, and Claude Giroux also signed with the team as well. In a more unexpected turn of events, Cam Talbot also made his way over from the Twin Cities, giving the Sens some assurance between the pipes that they hadn't seen in years. Up until that point, the instability in net became an ongoing theme, as Matt Murray didn't work out as GM Pierre Dorion would have hoped. If we're being real here, not many expected the team to be first in their division, but the fact that Buffalo is ahead of them in the standings is something, to me at least, that wasn't so precedented. After losing to Pittsburgh in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Senators haven't had a sniff at the postseason. If the team doesn't make a postseason appearance this spring, then it'll be the 6th time in a row that they've missed the playoffs. As far as Philadelphia is concerned, the fan base has pretty much become desensitized to disappointment here lately. In the summer of 2020, the hype was all the rage for Philly. Believe it or not, according to NHL.com, they had the 4th best odds, tied with Toronto, for the Stanley Cup. Obviously, things went sideways, and the team failed to even qualify for the postseason. Therefore, in an effort to remedy the situation, GM Chuck Fletcher seemed to be on a mission to try and get his team back into the playoff picture. Rasmus Ristolainen, Kim Atkinson, and Ryan Ellis were among the names that joined the fold in the offseason of 2021. Again, hopes were high that the ship would be steered in the right direction, but as I said, most of us almost expect mediocrity at this point. John Tortorella and Tony DeAngelo were 2 of the biggest names brought in this time around. At the present time, the Flyers aren't anywhere near making the playoffs. If the team fails to secure a spot yet again, it will be Philly's 3rd straight absence in a row. I mean, unless you've been living under a rock lately, you probably knew Vancouver would be here. Even though former GM Jim Benning is no longer calling the shots in BC, his previous mistakes are still costing the Canucks. Contracts such as Oliver Ekman-Larsson's, for example, have been crippling Vancouver cap-wise. Also, aside from their struggles on ice, the team hasn't seemed to be anywhere near coexisting efficiently either off of it. With uncertainty surrounding Captain Bo Horvat's future and the constant noise around JT Miller, there's plenty of reasons why it can't be easy being a Canucks fan currently. Following 4 straight postseason absences, the Canucks were able to qualify in the bubble to win the first round in 2020. Outside of that, however, they haven't had much luck in the playoffs either recently. They say the root of all disappointment is expectation. And similarly to most of the teams on this list, Blue Jackets fans expected a lot from their team coming into the season. Since GM Jarmo Kekalainen was able to sign Johnny Gaudreau in the offseason, the idea was that he and Patrik Laine would be going on a tear. Unfortunately though, the injury bug has bitten Columbus pretty badly this season. Not only have they been without their star D-man Zach Werenski, but also Jacob Voracek. Looking at their injury reserve at the moment is like looking at nearly fourth of the roster. Anyways, just like the present, the past hasn't been too kind to CBJ fans either. During the John Tortorella era, the team was only able to win one playoff round officially, which was their first in team history. However, since that day in 2020, the team hasn't come close to getting a chance to compete for Lord Stanley, as they failed to qualify altogether. It seems like with every new season comes the same mantra from Toronto: this year will be it. And really, I have a feeling I'm not alone when I say that it's just not funny anymore seeing the Leafs lose in the first round. Their fans always seem to be strung along every postseason, only to be let down yet again. However, it seemed like so far this season, the Leafs' goaltending woes have been solved. With the tandem of Ilya Samsonov and Matt Murray in the crease, Toronto has surprised many while silently climbing up in the standings. But still, 0 playoff series won since 2004 is a tough stat to have. After losing to Tampa in a long and intense series, the Leafs likely have one more chance to get it right in the Dubas era. Another video, another year of Buffalo making the cut. But really this time around, the overall feel in Buffalo seems to be one of optimism, as we've recently seen the exciting emergence of Tage Thompson, who, as I'm making this video, is just behind Connor McDavid in the standings for goals with 30. With the Jack Eichel saga in the rearview mirror for good, the team has managed to avoid being a bottom feeder up to this point in the season. At the present time, the Sabres are refreshingly above quite a few teams, including Edmonton, Calgary, and Nashville, among others. Even though it's been a hard road traveled for Sabres fans over the years, things really appear to be brighter. If you'd like to learn more about what Buffalo fans have been through in the Pegula era, I recommend you check out a video I made on the subject. But for once, I'd like to leave things on a positive note, in hopes that the team will be back in the playoff picture sooner rather than later. While many may be puzzled as to why Arizona is number 1 over Buffalo, hear me out. Buffalo fans have one thing that Coyotes fans don't this season: an actual arena that's not on a college campus. In all seriousness, this is a franchise that has nothing but uncertainty ahead of it. Even though the arena construction has been approved by City Council in Tempe, everything regarding the Yotes' new venue is still up in the air. If we're being honest, similarly to Buffalo, Arizona has been at the butt of every joke in the NHL for a hot minute for multiple reasons. Aside from their playoff appearance in the bubble, the team hasn't qualified for the playoffs in over a decade. Therefore, that fact, paired with the arena situation, easily in my mind, makes it a no-brainer for Arizona to be at the top of this list.